Welcome back to Multiplying by Fractions Day 2. All right, so on Monday, Dylan's father asked him to use to weed half the family's garden by Friday. Dylan's father explained that he would weed the rest. Dylan decided that he would do 1/5 of his part each day. So we are looking at he has to weed half the family's garden, and he wants to do 1/5 of his part each day. Okay. So we're looking at 1/2, or it's not 1/2, sorry, 1/5 of 1/2. Okay. So looking at our model, if this is our garden here, this is Dylan's garden or his family's garden, we're going to divide it in half first, right? Because our second fraction is half. So his whole garden that he has to weed is 1/2. So I'm going to color in 1/2 of the garden, right? And then each day he's going to do 1/5. So we're going to divide this into fifths, right? And we can color 1/5, right? So each day, what fraction of the family garden is Dylan weeding? Well, this is one piece of our garden has both red and blue, so 1, and it was broken into 10. So each day he is weeding 1/10 of the garden. Remember that from yesterday? If we wanted to write this with multiplication, we could say 1/5 times 1/2 because of is the same as multiply. 1/5 times 1/2 is 1/10. Today we're going to look at how we multiply without drawing models, right? And so remember we talked about how the denominators yesterday or the day before, we could multiply them together because that's how we broke up the model, okay? Let's do another one. If I do 1/3 of 3/4, I'm going to first break my model into fourths. So I'm going to break my model into fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to color 3/4 of my model because my second fraction is 3/4. And then I'm going to divide my fraction into, or my model into thirds. And it's so much easier to do when we use graph paper. And I'm going to color 1/3, right? So I've colored 1/3 of 3/4, and I find that 3/12 are colored. So 1/3 times 3/4 equals 3/12. And we can simplify this down because 3 and 12 are multiples of 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1, 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay. All right. So we're going to review some drawing models and pay attention to the numbers. All right. So if I have 1/2 of 2/3, what size model square should I draw? Remember, we go up and down first so that we can draw horizontal second. So I'm going to divide my model into thirds, and I can color 2/3. Right? And then I'm going to divide my model in half because my first fraction is half, and I'm going to color 1/2. And what fraction of the model has both red and blue? We're looking at 2/6. So we can see that our model is broken up into 6 parts, but only 2 of those parts have both red and blue. So 1/2 times 2/3, we can multiply the numerators, which is 1 times 2, which is 2, and the denominators 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Let's draw a model for 1/4 times 1/2. Using graph paper makes it so much easier. I'm going to do half. So take my model, break it in half, color 1/2 red, and then I'm going to divide my model into fourths because my first fraction is fourth, and I'm going to color 1/4 blue. When I divide in my model, I divided it into 8 pieces, and one of those pieces has both red and blue. If I look at my fractions, 1, the numerators 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 2 is 8. So 1/6 times 3/4. What model should we draw? I'm going to draw a model that I can divide into fourths vertically and into sixths horizontally for my second step. Okay, but first I'm going to color 3/4 of my model red, and then I'm going to divide my model into sixths, and I'm going to color 1/6 of my model blue. I broke my model into 24 pieces, 24 parts, and 3 of those parts are both red and blue. I can simplify this down to 1/8. 3 divided by 3 is 1, 24 divided by 3 is 8. Remember, we want to keep them in simplest form, but we are today practicing multiplying, right? All right, 5/6 times 3/5. Again, we're going to draw a model. I'm going to draw a model that can be divided by 6 horizontally and 5 vertically. right? So if I divide my model into fifths, because my second fraction is 3/5, and then I'm going to color 3/5 of my model red. Oops. My coloring is not very straight. All right, and then um, we will divide it horizontally into 6, because our first fraction is 6, and then we will color 5 of those 6. So 5 of those 6, we broke our model into 30 pieces, and we have colored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We could have counted, but we could also see that 5 times 3 is 15. 15 30ths. All right, which is 1/2. All right, so a step-by-step on how to multiply fractions. Okay, so when we multiply fractions, you can just multiply across. You cannot do this in when you add or subtract. Remember, when we're adding and subtracting, you have to have like denominators. Okay, but when you multiply fractions, the denominators can be different. So we first multiply the numerators, and then we multiply the denominators. So 1/5 times 1/2 equals 1 times 1 over 5 times 2. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 2 is 10. All right. Let's practice. Okay. So if I have 2/4 times 1/3, my numerators are 2 times 1, and my denominators are 4 times 3. 2 times 1 is 2. 4 times 3 is 12. Both of these are even numbers, so we can simplify it to 1/6. All right. Let's look at B. Our numerators are 3 and 5, so 3 times 5, and our denominators are 4 and 7, so 4 times 7. 3 times 5 is 15, and 4 times 7 is 28. This is the simplest it can go. It cannot be simplified anymore. 15 is divisible by 5 and 3, and 28 is divisible by 4 and 2. Try, actually, let's do C together. So C is 1/2 times 9/4. Our numerator is 1 times 9, and our denominator is 2 times 4. Okay, this gives us 9/8, which simplifies to, because 9/8 is in improper fraction. So we have to change it to a mixed number. Okay, and the mixed number would be 1 and 1/8. Try D and E on your own. Come back and check your work. Pause the video. You should have gotten 3/8. And this one you should have gotten 18/30, which simplifies down to 3/5, as both are divided by or by 6. Sorry. Okay. All right. Your homework, sorry, is page 247, 1 to 25 odd.